Hey, what up, my dudes? Got a little bit of red versus orange, you know what I'm saying, dogs? Kind of like comparing apples to oranges here. So, literally, okay, so Honda versus KTM, right, in Supercross 3. So, these are probably, I think they're hands down the best two bikes in the game as far as 450s. I think they're the most road bikes in the game when you talk about randomly on the online servers. From my time playing the game so far, with getting on there pretty much every night on random online servers, getting on there with my team, doing all this whole thing, what I've come to realize, basically the sort of pie chart on how many people are riding what kind of bikes in the game, I would pretty much guesstimate it in and around about the area of, if you took the entire population of the game right now, at least on PC, basically what I've noticed is like 60% of people are riding Hondas, 20% of people are riding KTMs, and then the other 20% of people are riding all the other bikes in the game, right? So you got more than half of the entire population in the game riding Honda, and then another 20 riding KTM, and then another 20 riding Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha. You know what I'm saying? So all these four bikes are just really like the kind of like, yeah, you can go around and play on them, and it's fun to go test out all the different bikes and stuff like that. And, you know, you think you're a yellow god if you went on a Suzuki because it has no power, right? You got a couple people out there like that want to try to go in there and ride these other bikes, and that's okay. But I'm just telling you, when you start taking this game a little more seriously, you start really riding with the fast boys, you start really getting in there, getting it going, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be on a Honda or a KTM, period. Like, that's just what it's eventually gonna be, dog. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, some people, they don't really understand what I'm saying when I say that, but I mean, yeah, you can go in there in a random online server and win on a Kawasaki. You can do it. You know what I'm saying? You can even go in there and win on a Suzuki 450 in a random online server. But don't get too above your head, because all it takes is one dude that's even halfway decent to get in there on a Honda, and he's going to push your shit in, dog. If you go in there and win on an online server on a Suzuki, it ain't really saying a whole lot, because it's all in who you're racing with anyways. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could take a pro in this game, quote unquote pro in this game, put them on a Suzuki, and they could probably beat most people on a Honda or a KTM. They probably could, right? It's kind of like how, you know, I could beat 90% of the overall MX simulator population on a 125 when they're riding 450s. You see what I'm saying? And them two bikes are nowhere even close to the same power. So whenever I go in there and talk about, like, what's the best bike, this bike versus that bike, I'm really talking about, like, if you compared it, two people on the exact same skill level riding two different bikes, how would they compare? You understand what I'm saying? That's really what I mean by it. A lot of you guys act like I'm saying you can't win on a Suzuki, or, oh my God, you know, a Honda is always going to beat a Husqvarna, and then people think they're God because they want to race on a Yamaha or whatever the fuck. Like, that's not what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying two people on the same skill level against each other. That's what I'm getting at, right? If you took an average of putting the same two people skill level-wise on like a Honda versus a Suzuki, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, the dude on the Honda will beat the dude on the Suzuki. But if it's a pro on a Suzuki and a beginner on a Honda, obviously the pro on the Suzuki is going to beat the beginner on the Honda. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, dogs? Oh, but let me just talk about my own personal reason why I like the Honda better than the KTM, and why I feel like the KTM just doesn't quite suit me quite as good. So, you know, like I was saying, you can sit there and talk about a speed stat sheet and attribute sheet all you want to, but really that's just saying that, you know, you got to take into account each one of these bikes has a different, like, power curve. They have a different, how the power actually, where the power hits at, and that makes all the difference in the world, because you can technically say, quote unquote, that the KTM has more power, but if it's not as smooth and rideable and linear of a power band and the power curve doesn't hit in the right spot, then it doesn't really equate to it having more power. You said it may have more power, technically, quote unquote, but that doesn't equal the bike actually going faster when you get on the track. You understand what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of that going on right now where I feel like the KTM's got a lot of horsepower, but for whatever reason, the Honda in this game to me just feels like it's got a better, like a smoother torque power delivery, which then equals the Honda feeling like it's got a smoother, better, more power top vibe feeling to it. That's the way it feels to me anyways. And that's just kind of the conclusion I've came to after running the Honda a bunch in this game, running the KTM a bunch in this game. The KTM's got a cool power feeling to it for sure, but to me, it just doesn't quite, like whenever you're trying to come out of a certain section and you're really having to be like smooth on the throttle, it feels like you can just be more wide open on the Honda and it just tracks around that corner and really sticks and gets traction in the corner and just pulls power out of the corner, whereas the KTM just seems to have a little bit more of an issue in that category. It's almost like the bike maybe is spinning just a little bit more. I'm not really sure, but it feels like the power's not getting quite to the ground as much on the KTM as it is on the Honda. But that's just, me personally, that's just kind of what it feels like to me. And then also the KTM, and this is kind of crazy because, how the KTMs just have a different feel in real life. They've always kind of had a different feel than all the, the Japanese bikes. It kind of feels like that in this game as well. Like the Husky and the KTM just have a little bit of a bizarre handling feeling to them in this game. And, that's just kind of what it's felt like to me. They just feel a little bit weird, little bit, I don't know, almost like the bike's not quite as comfortable handling-wise in the corner and just everywhere on the track as the Honda to me personally. The bike just feels a little bit more wonky, like feeling-wise, handling, physics feeling-wise to the bike. Whereas the Honda just feels a little more smooth everywhere. It just tracks everywhere a little bit better to me. So that's just another little reason why the Honda I just gel with the Honda, dog. Like as soon as I get on it, I'm gelling on a track, bro. Like it's just going where I want it to go. The bike's smooth in the corner. Power delivery smooth. I don't really feel like I spin out as much on the Honda as I do the KTM. KTM kind of has that weird where the front end will pick up on you a little more than you want it to, and sometimes it'll break a little bit weird on the KTM. There's just a couple things. I don't know. I just personally feel like the Honda is better, and I think that's why you're seeing more people riding the Honda than even the KTM. There's way more people riding the Honda than there is any of the other bikes, but I still think there's more people riding the Honda than even the KTM. But I think these are definitely the two that are like up there in category-wise when you try to compare them both, side by side. I think these are the two ones that you would basically do that with. But I see how you could start feeling the vibe on the KTM. I can feel it, I can see it, but I guess just my own personal, the way I ride and the way I steer and the way I hit jumps and get on the gas and all that, everything, the way I play the game, for whatever reason, the Honda just seems to sort of fit that a little better. The KTM to me just feels like it's more of a raw horsepower bike, whereas the Honda feels like it's more of a torque, stick to the ground bike feeling to it, right? That's kind of the main difference that I could explain with both these different bikes right here. And of course, when I'm getting in here trying to play this game while I'm talking live, I'm not even going half of my normal speed, right? Because I'm trying to think about what I'm talking about and all that. So I apologize for coming up short on some of these jumps. I promise I'm way better than what I look like in some of these videos when I'm trying to talk live. It is not easy playing a motocross game while you're trying to talk live. I'm just telling you, it's not easy, dog. Especially in these games, it's got a little more skill gap to them. It's like, wow, what the hell? I'm way faster than what I look like in my videos where I'm talking in, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast when you want to come in here and make live videos, right? But either way, let me go get on that Honda, kind of show you what I'm talking about. And just letting you guys know, I don't have any sort of like real life personal bias with Honda or KTM. I don't have a Honda. Well, I have a CRF 230F, which is like a street and trail style bike in real life. But really, the main bikes that I have in real life are Yamaha. All of them. I got 4 of them, dog. 4 YZs. I got a 125 2-stroke, 250 2-stroke, and 2 254 strokes in real life. So, oh my God, look at that Honda, dude. I almost hit that quad right there without even trying, bro. Holy crap, this bike is sick. But, yeah, so I just wanted to explain that because I know a lot of people get into this game. They got their own real life, bike manufacturer, personal connections and shit. So they're going to go in there and be like, no, this bike is better. No, this bike is better because that's the one I ride in real life, dog. You got quite a few of those dudes out there that kind of got that vibe going a little bit. But I just wanted to explain, I don't even ride a Honda or a KTM in real life. I'm a Yamaha boy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely 100% fairly evenly comparing these 2 bikes in this game because I don't even ride either one of these. And I have actually rode both of these kind of bikes in real life before, but that's not what I own or race in real life or anything like that. But there's just something about the inertia and the smoothness and the power delivery and the everything about the Honda in this game. It's just smoother to me. And smoother equals faster, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't realized that yet. Smoother equals faster, right? You can have all the horsepower in the world. It's kind of like streetcar racing, right? You can have all the horsepower in the world, but if it's not smooth and it doesn't stick to the ground, if you're spinning, it's not as fast. You see what I'm saying? You can talk about raw horsepower and how fast something is all you want to, but if it's not delivering it to the ground properly, then you're not getting a faster outcome. You understand what I'm saying? So, you can have all the NOS boost power in the world, but it's got to stick to the ground. It's got to be rideable enough to... And you've seen them talk about that in real life, too. Damn near hitting that quad on accident again. I'm letting off on that jump face and damn near hitting that quad, dog. It's instantly. Like, when I get back on the Honda, it's like, all right, yeah, this is what I like. This is what makes me feel good. This is where it's at, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's instantly the feeling I get whenever I get back on the Honda here. So, but they're both pretty even, I guess you could say, in power. But like I said, I just feel like the Honda, it's smoother, more rideable, more tractable power, so it just feels better to me. And just the overall handling and, overall steering, feeling of the bike and all that kind of stuff, everything about it feels smoother on the Honda. It just feels a little janky, a little rough, I don't know how to explain it on the KTM. I don't know if they really tried to replicate the the different sort of frame and all that like the KTM has in real life. I don't know if they're trying to replicate that, but that's kind of what it feels like in this game. Feels like these Japanese brand bikes in the game just have a completely different feel than those, like the Husky and the KTM in the game. Those feel a little bit stiffer, not as movable. I don't know how to explain it. They're not as agile, not as maneuverable. So the Honda just feels a little more agile to me. Still has the crazy good power. It's got kind of just the best attributes of everything together, and so you still feel like you can hit any jump on the track, smooth as silk. This bitch just flows, you know what I'm saying, dog? She flows. So that's kind of where I'm at here on the Honda versus KTM, which this could all change if Milestone puts some sort of... I finally attempted to go for that quad a little bit. If Milestone does some sort of a balancing update or something where they nerf the Honda, I could definitely see them doing that, which I kind of hope they don't, but I could see that happening just because the Honda is so stand out. But that's the way it is in real life, though. So it just all kind of comes down to once you start, min-maxing, taking a game super seriously and getting into the pro ranks of a game, just about everybody's going to be on the same bike in these motocross games. That's why you see on MX Simulator, just about everybody's on the same dyno in the pro racing, and that's just the way it is when you start taking a game super seriously like that. But I just think in Supercross 3 specifically, it really is a bigger deal in this game than it was in some of the previous Milestone games, because the previous Milestone games didn't really have the super big lines, didn't really have the hard skill gap jump side of it, so you weren't so forced to having that bike with that you know, the most power, the most torque, the most bottom end grunt. You weren't so forced to have that sort of a bike in those other Supercross games because you didn't really have to have it, because all the jumps were pretty easy in those games. You could just about hit every jump in all those games with any bike. Whereas this game, there's some jumps in this game where you just barely make them, even on some of the fastest bikes in the game. So you just imagine getting on a Suzuki that has, like, it doesn't have a lot less power, but just having 5 or 10% less power, like what the Suzuki has in this game, it makes it to where it's just that much harder to hit those big jumps that you're just barely able to hit as it is anyways. So it really puts you at a disadvantage, you know, getting on a bike like the Suzuki in this game. But either way, it's kind of my overall opinion on it. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have a few, no, Spencer, the KTM's better, dog. That's your opinion. You know, it's all good, dog. You can have your own opinion. But I just, from what I've seen, the testing I've done so far, and what most people are riding on in the game and all that, it just seems like that Honda is still seeming to be the favorite here, the overall favorite when it comes to really, really taking this game more serious, getting a little more hardcore on it. So, yeah, man, either way, that's kind of where I'm at on it. Definitely think Honda's has got the lead right now, dude. And Honda's in real life, Honda 450s in real life are doing pretty good as well. So seems as if they've kind of replicated all that to some degree. And, you know, the Yamahas have really good power 450s in this game, which is similar to how it is in real life. Really impressed how Milestone seemed to somewhat base it off of, like, the shootouts and stuff. I'm not sure what year they're kind of basing all these, you know, these bike attributes off of, but it does seem like it somewhat is replicating the modern day, you know, manufacturer. Suzuki's been not being known for their power, but being pretty good at handling. Honda's getting a lot better. Yamaha's being really good at the power side of everything. Huskies and KTM's being very similar. You know, all those little attributes are very, very similar in this game to what they are in real life right now. So it's really interesting to see that. I'm really impressed with Milestone on that sort of side, getting everything pretty accurate to what you think it would be in real life, right? You wouldn't think, like, oh, the Suzuki would just be super, super fast in this game, and then the Yamaha would be, like, super slow. You know, they didn't, like, mess it up in that sense. You know what I mean? That would have been really weird if they would have had it like that. They didn't just go in there and randomly put attributes on all the different bikes. They somewhat actually tried to base it off of the real-life bikes. And you can just tell that once you get into the game. If you know real-life, you know, manufacturer 450s and kind of what they're known for, and you've seen some of the shootouts and stuff, you'll know Milestone's got it pretty going on right now with these bikes. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.